Pauley. I'm here at the beautiful Comedy and Magic Club in the gorgeous green room, and we're doing another episode of Behind the Punchlines. What inspired me to be a comedian? I was in New York City. I did a lot of the acting thing, and I noticed I was always auditioning for other people's stuff, and it was actually a big manager had said, "You're really funny, you should try stand-up comedy," because I was very sarcastic and snide. And I did one open mic in Chelsea, Manhattan, at a place called Rebar. I did like 6 minutes and I got the bug. And I don't know if I was funny or not, but I loved that I could just say whatever I wanted to say. I was the writer, the director, and the vehicle for it. And that's it. I got the bug, and I did open mics constantly for years before I ever did an actual club. So that inspired me. I think I'm inspired because you get away with having a voice and saying what you want to say. And I think a lot of us growing up maybe didn't really say everything we wanted to say. So share a funny mishap or embarrassing moment that happened to me during one of my performances. I know exactly which one it is, and I actually talk about it on stage sometimes. I was at Governor's in Long Island, and there was a guy just a few chairs down from the stage. It's a big room, and it was dark. It's like 10 o'clock at night comedy show, and he's wearing black sunglasses like Tom Cruise in that movie. And Long Island is a very macho Goomba type place, and he had a white tank top on. So of course I started making fun of him, and I'm like, "Ooh, look at the Guido, you're so cool, you gotta wear your glasses, your sunglasses in the dark comedy club because you're such a macho Guido." And I was making fun of him, and he was just kind of like taking it and laughing. And then when there was a moment of silence in between my stupidity, the woman with him said, "He's blind." And she had no tolerance for me. I thought she was gonna kick my ass. She didn't. And I was mortified. And I think I said, to be funny, and he was laughing. He thought it was funny because he knew I buried myself. And then I said, "Oh, well, then why didn't you sit at the back of the audience and let somebody who could see sit up front? Selfish." And he cracked up laughing. She never kicked my ass in the parking lot. I thought she was going to, and I really wouldn't bother her. But I learned, but I learned you never ever know. Like here I am in macho land, and I think he's wearing the sunglasses at night in a club to be cool. And he was muscular. He was built pretty well, and I don't assume anything about people. See, I made that a lesson about you instead of my own stupidity. I'm deflecting. Do I prefer performing live or in front of a camera? Live. There's an energy and a give and take. Even when it doesn't go well, there's still an electrifying energy that I cannot explain it to you, but it's why I do it. I like that connection, and sometimes even when a crowd is not really that into me and I'm not really into them, I actually enjoy connecting with them and telling them that they're not my favorite people, and I acknowledge that they don't like me. And then when it's good, it's incredible, and there's nothing like it, and it's electrifying, and it just feels so good to have that connection. What's the most memorable feedback or a compliment I've received from an audience member? It's going to sound hokey, but on more than one occasion, 2 different occasions, people came up to me after the show. People are always, I love it when people just say, "Oh, you say the things that I think," and it makes them happy and they're appreciative. But on 2 different occasions, I did have people come up to me after a show, and they said, "I just lost my husband," or "I just lost my mom, and I haven't laughed like that in months, and I just could forget about being sad for a half hour." And that really got me when they're sincere and they just really have to communicate that to you. It made me feel really, really good, and there's no words for it, but see, the comedian in me is like, "Ooh, aren't you wonderful, Bernie?" But yeah, I'll never forget those 2 moments. So what's the most unique or unusual location where I've performed stand-up comedy? Well, I started in New York City, and it started getting very, very cutthroat, and it was very hard to get in at the clubs. So I did all the open mics, and I performed in a laundromat. We would stand there with a mic and alienate people trying to do their laundry, but some people would stand there and watch and gawk and look at us like we were train wrecks. And then some people would actually like laugh and enjoy the jokes, but we didn't have stages that we could get on, so we had to create our own stage. And then there was another place, it was a supermarket in New York City, a huge supermarket, and all the cashiers were up at the front of the supermarket, and we put it, I don't know why the supermarket let us do this. We used to get paid off the salad bar. Somehow they would let us eat off the salad bar. That was our payment in the supermarket. But we had like a tiny little stage that we made right at the front of the supermarket. And there was a window right behind us. So you're in a supermarket, there's a window behind you, and people are walking by saying, why is someone standing up in the supermarket talking to everybody at the cash registers? But the one good thing was we were annoying comedians who needed stage time, but the people that were at registers, they were kind of like a captive audience. They had no choice. They had to listen to us. And some people were like awkward and weird, like, oh my God, this is so strange. Some people would pretend it wasn't even happening, and other people would just crack up and like enjoy the novelty of what is wrong with us that we're standing on a 2x4 box in front of a bunch of cash registers and making people who just want to buy their groceries and get home listen to us. And it was a great time. Looking back, it was a great time. The first time, I don't know if I remember the first time. I do know I had a handful of really, really funny comedians, really good established people that I respect, put in a word for me so that I could finally come here and work. And then I finally got like a 6 or 7 or an 8-minute spot, and I was very, very nervous. I was new to LA at the time, but it went it really went well. And I got in my head a little bit because they don't like you to be gratuitously, is that the word, gratuitously swear or be filthy. And that's kind of like the hot thing in some clubs. And I got in my head about, I have to be clean per se, but it wasn't like that. It was like, just don't be an idiot and just swear to cover for not being funny. But here's the thing. When I came in, what was I gonna, everybody told me, everyone who put in a word for me at this club, some really great comedians that I respect a lot, they all said, Bernie, you will love this club because what counts is being funny. They don't care about, you can say your TV credits or you work with this person or that one. Even though everybody here has a million TV credits, they said all they care about is just be funny and be the real deal. And that is why I do love this club. Now it sounds like I'm kissing ass, but it is all that counts at this club. Just be funny.
And then you are married to another fellow comedian.
I am married to Al Ducharme, who's the voice of Anthony on F is for Family. And he's a great human being. Don't tell him I said that. And so what is it like? Well, as comedians, we're either apart, like a lot, we're on different ends of the planet, or we're together 24/7, whether it's at home or on the road. We're in a hotel room and ready to kill each other at the end of a couple of weeks. But
I see that you guys tour a lot together. Like,
yes,
a lot of shows I see you guys together. So
yeah.
How is that experience? Like,
I do love it. It's the ideal thing. We get to tour together. We get to see the world. I mean, we've been throughout Asia, Europe. We work in the UK together. So it's great to get to see the world together and perform and do what we love. We're not at all competitive. People always say, are you competitive? No, because what's his is mine and mine is his, and I take his money, so I just want him to do great. But how is it? It's great because we both have it in our blood, and we really can't, it can be hard when you have two married comedians. We're both in this cutthroat business that isn't necessarily a meritocracy, and it can be unfair. But I mean, everything can be unfair in life, and everybody works hard. It doesn't matter what profession you're in, so I understand that. But being married to another comedian, only another comedian is really going to get what you go through. Like, we get it. And before, when I would date guys that were not comedians, they're like, oh, you're a comedian, that's so cute. And then when they realize you have to work 7 nights a week and you're not going to just be available for them on their schedule, they're like, oh, knock it off. But he gets it. We both get it. The love of what we do. And I do feel like we'll be doing it when we're 99 years old. So it's great. We're not a laugh a minute in the house, but we really do. Some of my best jokes have been just riffing with him and telling him off in the house. And he'll say, that's funny. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try that tonight. I will stay at home writing for hours saying, this is brilliant, la, la, la. And I'll work on it and tweak it. And I tweak it and I can't get it to work. But something I say or think about him when I'm mad at him, I'll say it once on stage and it hits with everybody in the room, the women,
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we've pieced together our acts. And we're very different style comedians, but yeah, it's great. I'm not going to complain about it. And it's funny because I'll open for him and people think I'm just, she's bashing her husband. But then he'll go on and bash his wife, and then he'll tell them towards the end, if they don't already know, Bernadette Pauley was my wife. And then the audience really appreciates it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's equal, it's fair. We've both, and then sometimes we'll come out on stage at the end and people really enjoy that and they want to ask us all kinds of questions. So it's great. I'm grateful for him. It's a good life, but I will never admit that to his face.
This is maybe your 4th, 5th time opening for Jay Leno. Do you remember the first time you were asked to open for him? How did you feel about it?
Well, I've never been able to see him in person, and I've always been told that he's a heavy hitter, a machine of sorts. And then when I worked with him, I saw he really, really is. I've never felt like such a lazy sack in all my life. But I was very, very nervous, and I was in my head, you don't want to be swearing or anything when you open up for somebody of his level. And then you see his act, and he works clean, but there's quite an edge to it. So now that I've been around him more, and he's hilarious in the green room, by the way. I keep telling people, oh my God, he's so funny. He's just like a regular guy, even though he's not, and he's sincere about it. He's not playing a humble, regular guy. So he'll riff and tell me funny things. I'm originally from Boston, and he used to work in the area that I'm from, and he'll just have me crying, laughing in the green room. But yeah, I was very intimidated, much more so. And I came up in New York around a lot of big guns, but he's an icon. So
Thank you, Bernie.
thank you guys. You're amazing.
We love you.
I love you more.